Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Makah Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this would just be a in transit, and there's just something I was thinking about this morning as I was watching, I was watching a few videos, listening to a few articles, and the whole situation with the migrant crisis and so on and so forth. I was also watching a video that was done by the elder Itazwan, Stay in the Spirit 144, on Donald Trump's plans to basically privatize the National Guard in order to execute his mass rounding and deportation of illegal immigrants agenda. Okay, which when in the article, I mean in the video, he played a news clip that basically you had them. They were basically telling you that this is possible under the Insurrection Act. Okay, which I remember doing a video. I think I did that video with Haran like years ago during the whole George Floyd situation. We went into the whole Insurrection Act and all what it basically meant and what you could do with that. Okay, but the point is, this whole migrant situation. Yesterday, I did a lesson on this family that decided they wanted to sign up. They called their government officials, and within 1 hour, a family of 4 was right there, ready. They dropped them off quick, no time wasted. And I was saying in the video that another, sort of thing to consider with this is that as more and more migrants are being poured into the country, they're being blended amongst the average citizens, and eventually it becomes not as easy to identify who is a migrant versus who is just a regular civilian. Because something that the elder mentioned in his video that sort of clicked in my head was, the average individual does not walk around with their passport or social security number on them. Okay, and so if you're just walking or going about in your day to day, just by looking at somebody, that won't be enough to determine whether this person is a citizen or an illegal immigrant or whatever. There'll just be another person you see walking on the street or driving somewhere, or living in the same place as you. So what happens when now it comes time, like with what Trump is saying, or it comes time where they want to identify, they want to start tracking and tracing or identifying and differentiating between the two? How are you going to do that? It's going to be much harder to do that now. Now, the second thing was, lately, all right, all these news articles have been coming out of more and more crimes and assaults and just, disruptive behavior from some of the migrants. Okay, and it's sort of beginning, like a thought that came to my head is, it's sort of beginning to set the stage to where it's almost justifying, okay, why you would need to have somebody like Trump in office. Because now you already have people that are of the sentiment that, we already struggling as it is here, but now we got to struggle even more because budget is being cut, and this is happening, and this is happening in order to support migrants. Okay, and then in addition to that, they're assaulting people and getting into it with officers and all that, which those could be plants. Okay, they could be. There's really no way to tell. It could be organic. They could be agents. They could be set up. But the point is, it's putting that image out there of this is sort of eventually the face of terror. Like, this is what they're doing now. Okay, and then you need justification to, or you need to be able to identify and say, okay, well, who are these people? Which ones are migrants? Which ones are not? And then I thought about the digital ID. Okay, which Haran, he goes into a lot of those kinds of things a lot. But the digital ID, which they've been pushing and pushing and pushing, which is basically everybody on the planet or on the globe, to the best of their ability, to have them be digitally identified. Okay, and what they're trying to do is centralize this identification scheme to where like all of your essential information that identifies who you are is collected and stored into one location. And when they scan that digital ID, they can find out everything they need to know about you. But they need to implement that, right? People need to be registered for it and processed and put through it. But the thing is, what is the driving factor? What is the cover story, right? You can have people today say, well, we're fine with our regular passports, social security numbers, driver's license, all of these things, right? Why do we need to switch to a new type of identification system? What's the the benefit to it? What's the real need for it? But now imagine the situation where you have maybe somebody like Trump comes in and he's like, look, we're gonna identify we need to first off identify everybody to know who you are and who's this and who's that, and then we need to round up X, Y, and Z, take him here, and I think he did mention uh not quarantine but detention camps being set up, okay, by the border to detain people, okay. And as we've been prophesying for all these years, it's not going to be a thing that's targeted against just migrants. If that's the path that it goes, okay, because it's looking like this migrant situation might lead to a identity crisis. This migrant crisis might lead to an identity crisis, and then the solution to an identity crisis would be a digital ID, where everybody's identified. So you know who's who. Everybody in this country's tagged. You know who's who. You know where they came from. You know what they're doing. Okay, and then you can go about doing whatever it is you want to do. But you have to keep in mind that these elites, their time is running short, and they're trying to move and enact the things they need to do before long, really, because they're running out of time. More and more people are waking up and becoming aware of what the plans are for them. Okay, and so because of that, they're trying to move quick. But whenever they try to do a big push, they always need some justification, some cover story, and it's always in the form of some crisis. Okay, people are more willing to accept a solution than just a suggestion or an idea. Okay, it has to come in the form of a solution, solves a problem. When you look at all these inventions that have become popularized, that have made money and all of that, they're all for the most part trying to solve some problem. Why do people buy umbrellas? Why does somebody invent an umbrella? Because they don't want to get rained upon, right? Cars, because they don't want to walk everywhere or use horses. Planes, like all these things that come about are accepted, and uh, uh, um, they're sold because they're solving some problem, and people are more willing to accept a solution than a suggestion. And so instead of them saying, hey, why don't we all migrate to a digital system, a digital identification system, people are going to start to think of, well, what about privacy? What about government tyranny? What about all these so-called conspiracy theories that have been put out there concerning a digital ID? But if you present a problem that is actually bad enough to where people are desperate for a solution, and then you come and say, well, the solution to this problem is a digital ID, people are not really worried about privacy and all of that. Then they're just worried about solve the problem. And if this is the way to solve it, then sure. Okay, so always keep that in mind, right? Micah chapter 2, verse 1, woe unto them that advise iniquity upon their beds, when the morning is like they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. So these the hidden hand, so to speak, or the shadow government, whatever you want to call them, that are setting up these events and pulling strings behind the scenes, they have meetings, on what's the best way to go about this. What's the next best distraction, or what's the next best catalyst that we can use to drive forth this agenda. Okay, and when the time comes, they're able to enact it and put it into place because they have influence in high places. To where they can influence lawmaking and all the different things they need to do in order to have certain policies come to fruition. All right, but nevertheless, that's kind of what I was thinking of, that came to mind, which is this whole situation, this whole migrant situation, it's done on purpose. There's been documents that have come out revealing and exposing the fact that this thing is being set up, and the government is working with these NGOs and actually just throwing these people in here. Now, you also had this article. I didn't get to read it actually, but I did see the headline from Washington Post that said ICE, because of budget cuts, are have drafted plans to release thousands of detainees, migrants, illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them, back. Just release them because they don't have the budget. You know, so I mean, you tell me, right? It's kind of like just catch and release, just throw them out there, and once again, it's just blending them in with the public. That eventually will lead to an identity crisis. How do you identify who's who? You can't look at them, because you may look at somebody and you may be mistaken. So how do you identify who is who? And that could very well be a very good cause to implement a new form of identification across the board, a universal one where everybody gets it. Because now, instead of having to have these migrants have to go and apply for citizenship and all these things, just give them a digital ID. Give everybody a digital ID. It's already on the books. It's already a part of the agenda. All they need now is a good cause. Okay, so hey, we're gonna watch and see, but we're definitely in those times, man, where if Trump does get in office and he does, go with whatever it is he's saying he wants to do, that's gonna be yeah, this place is gonna be real interesting. It's gonna be real interesting times. Let's just put it like that. All right. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna end it here. Just something I was meditating upon. I wanted to bring it to light. So let's watch and see what happens. But all in all, we know that there's an end goal for this, and we're all gonna find out. We're gonna see how this plays out. So with that, Lord willing, you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.